Welcome to the live lunch break here at theday.com. I'm Peter Huapi, sitting in for Rick Koster. Live lunch break is our weekly show here at the Day. Every Thursday at noon, we stream a live concert from one of our local musicians. And today, we're proud to welcome Jim Lampos.
Thanks, Peter.
Say when you see the black crow perched on your side view mirror, it's time to pull over. It's the devil's at the wheel. Lost a game of pool to a one-armed man in downtown Cheyenne. Spent the night drinking with a girl who was sinking in her gin. Wants to go back in time, be a backup singer for the king, as the jukebox plays that long black limousine. It's a long dark night, I'll see you on the other side, 'cause tonight I'm gonna ride with destiny. Thunder echoes up the mountain. Ah, there is no shame in standing still. Lightning is on the horizon, illuminating the high plains, testing your will. Going up to the hills, she's gonna drink that clear, clean water. She said there is no law above 10,000 feet. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow, but tonight I'm gonna ride with destiny. But a dream, and only dreamers can see the way it all works together and the way it all fits. Life is but a dream, and only dreamers can see paradise is right there waiting at your fingertips. Fade away in the course of time. Truth is always in flux, striking the balance takes skill and luck. Maybe I was born guilty, but I bet I'm gonna die innocent. Living day to day, trying to be free. You can tell all those drifters, those junkers and those lawmen, that tonight I'm gonna ride with destiny. You can tell all your preachers, your hawkers and your lawmen, that tonight I'm gonna ride with destiny. Tonight I'm gonna ride.
Come to Cloder Farms.
Lose yourself in the possibilities for your home, yard, heart,
and soul.
Come to Cloder Farms
And see what we're building for you. Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. Yes, Block Island beckons. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Ride the high-speed Block Island Express from New London on one of 4 daily departures, where an island escape is yours at GoBlockIsland.com. That's GoBlockIsland.com.
So by doing the house and trade-in, you know, that we use that towards our down payment towards this condo, and it made life so much easier for us. It took all the worry out of everything.
All right, thanks for joining us here on Live Lunch Break. Our guest today is Jim Lampos. Jim grew up in the area, and you took off for New York at a pretty young age. At what age did you know that you wanted to be a musician?
Probably when I was 12. I knew that that's what I really wanted to do. And when I was 8 and I saw Louis Armstrong, I knew that I loved music, you know, and I wanted to play it. But I think when I was 12, it was like, that's what I want to do.
Now, your sound seems really heavily influenced by sort of American folk and roots traditions. Were there certain artists that you were listening to at the time that inspired you to pursue that sort of sound?
The one that blew me out of the water, and probably still does, and everyone that knows me knows it's Dylan. And I mean, he soaked up so much of, you know, folk, blues, and rock, and kind of took it to another place. And then there's a whole tradition coming out of what he did, you know. So, and there's a lot of ways you can take that. But you know, if there's one person you can boil it down to, it's probably him.
And so, was your choice to move to New York, was that a musical one?
Primarily, I mean, I ended up. I was kind of finding a way to get there that made sense. So I got a fellowship and went to grad school there, and that landed me right in the middle of it. And so then I could just proceed with my little plan. You know.
And you had said that you had opportunities were really abounding there for you.
Yeah, it's amazingly open. You know, I moved out a few years ago, about 5 years ago, but when I moved there, and right up until pretty recently, the city's just wide open if you're a musician, you know, and you're willing to hustle and, you know, work at it. You can get work in the clubs, you can get an audience, you know, if you have anything on the ball, because there's just a critical mass of people there, you know.
If you're interested in Jim's music, you can go to his website, lampos.com, and you've got an extensive list of tour dates going from about 99 to 2004. So it seemed like during that time, while you may have lived in New York, you didn't spend a ton of time there.
Yeah, we were joking about that. You know, we had an apartment in New York, but we spent most of our time on the road. You know, we'd be on the road for 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks, come to New York for 2 or 3 weeks, and head back out. But it was great because, you know, it's sort of like bringing it all back home. You come back to New York, and you've got, you know, the buzz out in the country, and then you get a nice crowd in the city, and it kind of fed off each other.
Okay, so I guess you've got a couple more songs for us.
Yeah. This is one. It's up on YouTube now. There's a little clip of it that we did on VH1, so I'm going to play the full song. It's called "Wheel of Chance."
The purest souls, the garden walls, statues of the damned, the pouring rain, the climbing vine. The dancer arches her back. I told it once, the truth to you. Cast it on the wind, now it's returned, a flower in bloom. The wheel of chance as it spins. I saw the dusk, cloaked in black, slip down the riverbanks. You were pale, white and sad. You chose the wrong man to slip you past the border guards, to taste the charms of the night. Now your regrets, they spring forth, the lack of love in your life. Come, my darling, in the morning, sun rising, cast down your demons, child. You see the tower, lightning struck, as the tale unfolds. You measured steps, one by one. The ringing chimes echo the restless hour, the burning heart. It's like a song on the wind, said it's a sail, it's a rock that flutters on golden wings. Come, my darling, in the morning, sun rising, cast down your demons, child. Purest souls, the garden walls, statues of the dead, the pouring rain, the climbing vine. The dancer arches her back. I told it once, the truth to you, then cast it on the wind. Now it's returned, flower and bloom, the wheel of chance as it spins. Wheel of chance as it spins. Wheel of chance. This song's called Dark American Night. Freight train rolling down the river to Baton Rouge, trying to lose these New York City blues. Semis are kicking up dust on the Arkansas line. We're rolling into the dark American night, doing the Zodiac dance down in Solitaire. The waving bees sliding on the floor, baby dancing in the air. Now I'm on that lost highway tonight, looking for the heart of the dark American night. It's fast food chains and motel strips, it all looks the same. From Mississippi up to Maine, it's all one big interchange. Pensacola girl said she wants to be an assassin. She says, I want to feel the thrill of the kill. In order to survive, you must be decisive. I look deep into the eyes of the dark American night. Sometimes there's only one person who will understand. She'll turn you on with a smile for somewhere, sometime, and we'll meet again in the dark American night. Yeah, we'll meet again in the dark American night. I'll meet again in the dark American. Meet again in the dark American. Meet again in the dark American night.
Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Where an island escape is yours at GoBlockIsland.com.
So literally, we're changing deeds. You're using your house at an agreed upon number towards a down payment for the purchase here. It couldn't be much easier, really.
Come to Cloder Farms.
We believe in the art of handcrafted furniture. Workbench built in the USA to your specifications. The Cloder Farms Keystone Collection. Furniture handmade just for you. And see what we're building for you.
Thanks for joining us here at Live Lunch Break. I'm Peter Huapi. Our guest today is Jim Lampos. And if you go to YouTube and you search for Jim Lampos, one of the top results, as you just mentioned, is an appearance that you did like 15 years ago on VH1. Tell me a little bit about that.
We're living in New York, and we're getting known. We felt pretty good in our town, and we just got this opportunity. They started doing this thing called Midnight Minute on VH1, and it was mostly artists you've heard of. And we were known in New York and a few other places in the country, but certainly not on the level of the people they had. And they invited us up, and so we did 2 segments for them. And it was great. I mean, the guy right before me was Pat Metheny, who had this guitar that had like 4 necks and 82 strings. So once I saw that, it's like, well, I just better do what I do, because there's no way I can compete with that.
And so the format on that show was, it was literally a minute long. You had 60 seconds.
You got a minute to get it across. Yeah, it's like whatever it is you got, give it to us in a minute. And so, the people afterwards were men at work, and they were tremendous. They're playing acoustic, and they were funny as, they were really funny backstage. So I had Pat Metheny before me and men at work after me, and it was just great to watch them work. So it was a lot of fun.
So you've done 6 albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did a lot of touring with your band in support of those albums. Now you're playing more solo acoustic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing some of the same stuff that you wrote for the band now on acoustic?
Some of it, yeah. All the stuff that I wrote, I had played acoustic anyway. I would try them out in the clubs in New York solo, and I would write them solo. And then, I'd call a band in and have the material, and they would add their parts, and they came up with some tremendous stuff, make suggestions, whatever. So a lot of the, when you hear the records, you hear the band, the bass player was great, this guy Greg Amani, who'd he'd come up with his bass part, we'd work on it together or whatever. But the songs themselves, I crafted at home, so it's not that difficult to play those. They're not.
So when you got those into the studio with the full band, did you find yourself discovering anything new about those songs that you sort of hadn't realized existed before? Yeah,
all the time. A lot of times you write a song and you kind of half know what it's about. You just have to trust your instincts on it. And then maybe you're recording it and someone does something, you know, they'll add a little piece, and suddenly the whole song, you can just visualize it in your head, you know. And maybe you couldn't have visualized it if they didn't add something to it. Or even just the performative aspect. That's why I play songs live, you know. I really don't feel a song's finished until I play it for people in a club or in a concert, because it's that give and take of that song becoming public, that it takes on a life of its own, and then you realize what it's really about sometimes. Or it just shatters and it falls flat and you never play it again. Yeah.
So you got something else for us?
Sure. This is a brand new one. It's about a couple weeks old. I've tried it out at a couple of shows and it seems to work. So.
The arcade is crowded, it's heavy with a scent, wet sand, cotton candy and sweat. The moon's trying to poke through the fog full of anticipation, but nothing's happened yet. The parade passes by, nothing ever changes. Some are getting high, feeling blessed and outrageous. My friends are outsiders, they're feeling slighted, slightly damaged, dangerous. Well, in my mind, these summer nights, they last forever, but I know they really don't. Sun's always coming up before you know it. We gotta get home. Pretty soon this little honky-tonk strip will be closing, but that beach is wide open and free. We can head on down and stroll with the ghosts. Watch the waves rolling in. We should go first. Maybe we should go. The lighthouse is flashing out on the shoals, 2 red and 1 white, warning you off the coast. You got wrecked so beautifully, when the cops picked you up they didn't know what to do with you, so they let you go. You're just pure spirit, you'd never feel cold. You're supposed to grow up, you're supposed to grow out of it, you're supposed to get old. Well, I'd like to have the ease of grace, have everything be clear, say all those words you need to hear but were never told. In my mind, these summer nights, they last forever, but the sun's always up before you know it. Tonight that zephyr is gently blown, caressing your skin. Pretty soon this little honky-tonk strip will be folding, but that beach is wide open and free. You can head on down and stroll with the ghosts, try and sober up a bit. Maybe we should go for it. Maybe we should go. We were compromised, baby, way before we were even born. I like to think I always know exactly what to do, but you know, tonight I'm feeling torn. Mechanical fortune teller lifts her head, she reads your palm, she breaks your heart, she'll tell you anything you want for 50 cents. Well, I want everything, the magic and the moon, but I'm a working man, baby, say no, I'm gonna settle for less. We're friends in different circles, there's different languages that we speak, we move with ease between the living and the dead. Firecrackers and laughter, I don't know what we're after, but I know where to begin and I believe everything you said. And in my mind, these summer nights, they last forever, but I know they really don't. before you know it, we gotta get home. Pretty soon this little phony honky-tonk strip's gonna be closing, but that beach is wide open. It's free. But head on down and stroll the ghosts as the heavy fog's rolling in. And over your shoulder, that lighthouse is flashing in the mist. I think we're alone and I pull you closer and I wonder if you know any of those secret little incantations, and if you think we should go for it. If we should go.
It's pretty clear that we had something to offer that other agents' listings did not have to offer. We offered them the opportunity to sell their home, get their home sold in a very slow, tough market.
Come to Cloder Farms.
Lose yourself in the possibilities for your home, yard, heart, and soul.
Come to Cloder Farms.
And see what we're building for you. Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. Yes, Block Island beckons. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Ride the high-speed Block Island Express from New London on one of 4 daily departures, where an island escape is yours at GoBlockIsland.com. That's GoBlockIsland.com.
Thanks for joining us here on Live Lunch Break. You can watch this episode as well as all of our previous episodes at theday.com/livelunchbreak. Our guest today is Jim Lampos. And Jim, we talked a little bit before about life in New York City and out on the road. As happens with a lot of people, family and work kind of pulls you back in. So you've moved back home. Still playing a little bit. Still writing.
Still writing. Yep. Got a new record ready to go. It's called Grand Illumination. The writing is done, and not sure exactly how it's going to go. How I'm going to approach it, but it's written.
That's a good step anyway to get all that stuff written. Have you been playing those songs out a little bit?
Yeah, I've actually tried them all out at this point. I did a fun gig out in Voluntown. If you're ever in the Voluntown area, go to the Acoustic Brew. It's a great new room. And I played Sailfest last week, or a couple weeks ago. And a couple of the little shows where I've tried all the songs out, and I'm pretty happy with them. I was thinking of doing all new songs today, but it's like, let me hold off a little bit.
So it seems like whether you're playing out a lot or not so much, you still every year for the past 5-6 years have had a Sailfest show. Yeah,
the Shoreline Acoustic Music Society. I mean, just a great bunch of people, Sherry and Steve, and the whole crew, and they've been kind enough to give me a slot every year. And I always feel like I haven't drifted too far if I can show up at Sailfest and still lay down a set. So it's kind of kept me at it at a point where I had no time to do anything except work and family. And now that things are opening up a little bit more, I'm accepting more work, and it's great. But I really appreciate them, putting me on every year.
Yeah, so it's cool to see you out there. You got 2 more songs for us?
Yeah. This first song is off my most recent record called Thunder Moon.
The servants of beauty keeping vigil receive their due reward, while upon the bishop and the king fall upon the sword. Now the curtain slightly parted reveals a dazzling sight from this old New York apartment on the sweet Midsummer night. pretty orchids that surround you. The candlelight burns low, their boredom does astound you. How little do they know the treasure there for the taking, if you accept the risk of flight. Temptation tapping at your window on this sweet midsummer night. For a moment there is perfection, it's all possible in this world, but you must pay attention, capture the vision as it unfolds. With changing circumstances, we all fall from the grace of time, so we must take our chances on this sweet midsummer night. So let us take our chances on this sweet midsummer night. On a sweet midsummer night. I'll do one more song. This song is a song on my third record called Starlight Theater. It's called Barrel House. Gone upon my watch, well I don't need the time. Get myself some wine, watch the blue moon rise. Gone to Barrel House, baby, on the river tonight. Gonna get my lady, my sweet little lady. Gonna get down to the other side. Gonna Barrel House, little baby, on the river tonight. Don't care if I die, I'm gonna have a time. You know where I'm going, the sun will always shine on me. Dee-dee-da. Gonna Barrel House, little baby, on the river tonight. Last night in Jackson, I was smoking up in Jackson, swinging that joint till the break of day. All the women there in Jackson, you know they sure know how to play. But I got a gal in Norland, right down in dirty little Norland. I'm going there, come a sunshine or rain. Gonna Barrel House, little baby, on the Poncha train. Heading out this morning, this hot Delta morning. Gonna start a rolling down Highway 61. You know we'll be in the easy. Gonna have some fun. Gonna bury a house, little sister, till the day is done. Gone upon my watch, I don't need the time. Get myself some wine, watch the blue moon, watch the blue moon rise. Gonna bury a house, little baby, on the river tonight. Gonna bury a house, little sister, on the riverside. Gonna bury a house, baby, on the river tonight.
Well, Jim Lampos, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Peter.
It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Great to be here.
You can find out all about Jim at lampos.com. You get links there to your CDs and upcoming tour dates. Hopefully, if we can see you out at some local establishments. Thank you so much to our sponsors: Cloder Farms, the Guard Art Center, Block Island Express, and New London Harbor Towers. And you can join us here next week for a solo performance by Sidewalk Dave coming up from New Haven. So thanks, everybody. See you next week.